anything.
No, I don't.
You always figure it out at the last minute.
Yeah. I do
So,
tend to wait till 5 minutes before it starts.
this should be working now.
No, it said something. So last time it said bad, but it went with it anyway. This time it said bad and actually blocked us.
Tell me it's working. Looks promising.
Go back to the one that
I mean,
just scroll down. The preview should be right there instead of opening a new window.
what? Should I play it?
Scroll to the bottom and click play on the public viewer.
It's probably the browser.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Looks good.
So now make sure Claudia gets it. You're not going to hear any of the. Well,
Hear a little.
you're only hearing what's coming out of here.
I was just checking. I hear it. All right, I'll let Claudia know. Should be working. Do you see it? Oh. Okay. Okay, great. All right, yeah.
Do you have everything you need?
Yeah.
All set?
Yep.
Okay.
We're all set. It's working. The stream's working. So.
Awesome. Yeah, I talked to Claudia yesterday. We traded messages, so I was like, oh, she never called me this morning. I guess
We
that's
never
because
quite know. We're
Yeah.
doing
Yeah, and then connect with Melissa Conwell.
I think Claudia did.
Claudia,
so
okay.
I just met her when we walked in.
Oh, perfect.
So.
Because I think that she's like the best person for future meetings. Just like make sure you.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, she called me. I don't know, but.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think we just decided kind of last minute ish. So.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Okay. Careful what you say. They can hear us. She said, Claudia sent me an email. She said, I hear you.
We really need that hour. I mean,
Well, half of it's just to find the place.
yeah. And when we got in here, we were at like 45 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we got it locked in. Set 7 minutes. Pretty close.
They have water over there? What are you drinking?
Coffee.
Oh. What? Is there a vending machine on here? Doesn't matter, phone.
You brought a sandwich today.
I know, I never do.
I always have to plan so far in advance that it's like, okay, do I have access to a microwave today? Do I trust that I will actually be in the office today?
I would hate that. I know, I would just always bring my lunch then.
Like during the legislative sessions, you just always pack a sandwich. So
Yeah, there's no.
after a little while, you just stand it anymore.
I'll bring you food. Or Ellie will.
Hot Thai dinner in the middle of committee. What's the thing too? They just all the representatives just keep going. They're like, we'll just leave for a little bit and come back. Of course, I don't have that option, so I'm the only one sitting.
Yeah.
Go back to my family. No, I can't leave. Like, I don't eat.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I keep telling you, you're not a well fan, honestly. Nice to see you.
So I'm wondering, because this stream is live, so people can be watching all this stuff.
Alright, good to see you.
Is there a we can keep it like private until it starts or something? Probably.
I don't know.
Because
You can wait to put this up screen.
so you
Oh,
can.
you know like the preview one? There was two air windows on that page.
Mm-hmm.
One said
The bottom one and the top one.
yeah, the top one says preview, the bottom one says whatever it says,
Mm-hmm.
world. So I think when you press preview, you can go down and watch it on preview, and then wait to click start stream.
Did you know the verse then?
But
Yeah. Well, if you had the audio down on here, you at least wouldn't hear anything, right?
I have the audio down completely on that. I'm only running the audio off the shotgun mic.
You don't know that they're half or they're like quarter up.
Right, but I turned it down on my camera. My camera's what's sending the signal.
Oh, so you have the audio off there.
Right, I just have.
How can
very
she hear
low.
us then?
It was louder. I turned it down even further, but
Mm-hmm.
I have the shotgun very low right now, so it's just a.
Gotcha.
I mean,
Because the other thing I noticed is like after the fact, you can go back and watch the stream. like the Gab one was still up there. And you could go back and watch like what happened before the news comments.
I didn't know they stayed up. So YouTube is recording it?
Hmm. So it might be of some concern.
That was only up temporarily.
Mm-mm. I mean, I could go in and delete it.
Like the mic on the podium and just have that on super low.
But
Because that's really like this mic is pointing at people that pointing off to the sides and it'll be all loud.
Is that good? Somebody over 40 takes care of 30. If it's a lot of striking out, then my son never started. Yeah, I will. As much as I coach it. No.
apples are so good right now.
Oh, really? How you doing? Good. I'm just
And we meetings heading up this.
Okay, yeah.
Right. Like if you end up eating more. Yeah, double quarter pounder and a large fry. Yeah, you know, it does not come back together.
Or, you know, we used last time, we still have a splitter. Oh, I got a splitter. If you don't mind me taking something off you, that's fine. Just an XLR? That'd be awesome. Oh, really? Are you here?
No, Shelby's with me today.
I didn't think you guys would be here.
Yeah. We're live streaming. She's actually gonna be giving you a mix down more channels than this.
Yeah. Alright, we're going to order here. Last on the phone, I didn't hear from the others. I heard a couple people, so I know a couple other ones are going to call in as well. Going down the list, obviously I'm here. Dan Aaron is traveling, not able to join us. Ray, good to see you here. Lisa is here. Paul is here. Corey, I haven't called in for that. I'm on the line, Governor. Oh, there you are. Thanks, Corey. Nancy, Nancy Genesis was going to call in as well. I'm here, Governor. Oh, perfect. Thank you. Representative Williams is here. Senator Blythen's not here yet. I believe he'll be here shortly. Senator Lassa, we're here on the line. Tom, good to see you here. Scott Klug is not in the minutes. Representative Barker is here. And Secretary Jim. So we got a good crew both on the line and with us in person. We will start off. Call this meeting to order. We'll get the roll call there. First order of business are approval of the minutes. Copies before. I believe you got the updated copies for Representative Barker's request for modification. Is there any discussion about that? Yeah.
No, the only thing I would see is that I would be frank, I was suspended because some of the key members of both Senator Watson and I brought in the last meeting were not the original president. And as soon as staff came over the votes, I don't know if you that anymore for all things that are clear or not in there. In particular, the company and I both, felt strongly about and agree on it as all sorts of things. And so I just would call the attention to that, please ensure that the minutes of the other day
we will be paying more attention to that, and we don't want to bring in a court for it. The minutes are in art, and we'll continue working. I'll start taking those too. I know Hank, but we're going to send this over to you. But it's something important for history of this organization.
Yeah, especially something that would obviously keep us there.
That is one of the nice things about staff that we talked about the last couple of times, having the minutes and packets up to and that. So for things like that, obviously the members work hard up. We can account for that.
Yeah, I think I'd be remiss not to say I think that the staff did an excellent job. I think that's one thing that is the ability those couple of years we did last week. Again, it's extremely helpful.
The discussion is not about entertaining a motion for adoption of minutes as amended or because we've already heard that up front. Is there a second? Second? Any additional discussion? Not all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We'll go on from the approval of minutes to read your report.
Please do that. Thank you for the opportunity. First, I'm going to start with I'd like to introduce Christine Lex, who's our new HR director. Christine, would you please stand? She's a Wisconsin native and 2 degrees from Wisconsin, but tell us about yourself and your history.
Sure. Yeah, I am from Wisconsin, born and raised, so definitely happy to be back here. And I have a history with manufacturing, starting with Ford Motor Company. I started there in the Twin Cities, Minnesota, spent 23 years over in Michigan and a few at Wisconsin. After 13 years in total, I worked for some market manufacturing in with Wexer and then most recently I came from the health insurance. So that's what got me back to the Madison area. And I was back in the WEDC, representing WEDC, and I'm happy to work with Randy and Ryan and our team.
Great to have you on. Serving on the committee. We hope to make a decision this week, and so then you have to do the references and everything else. So by late this week or early next week, we hope to have an announcement of that position. But it's important that we do the references, then you have to do the background check. So that's in motion, and we were very pleased with the quality of the applications. It's comforting to know that people do really appreciate the opportunity to interview with us. So that's going well. We have a couple other positions that we're interviewing for, and again, a great pool of candidates to choose from. Sponsorships and contributions, as I report every quarter. When I did this report, it was at $12,000. Now it's at $19,750. This is a prime time for soliciting contributions for the Marketplace 2014. Last year we had 600 registrants for that program. I don't know where the registrants are right now on that, but we're a little ways away. It's going to happen in October 22, 23, so that should be improving, but more contributions coming in. They've ranged from 1,000 up to 5,000. We certainly thank the individual corporations and companies and individuals that have given us a contribution for that program. Historic Preservation Tax Program continues to be work in progress. We're meeting on the 30th of October. When this went out, it was either the 29th or the 30th. We're trying to accommodate the schedule of the National Historic Trust individuals from Washington, D.C. coming out. They have one other meeting in Wisconsin on the 30th, so this is why we set it there. The agenda I have attached, or it's on your place of, should be on your workstation here today. Secretary Chandler is going to be there, and some other individuals from the State Historical Society. The national scene will be represented by the National Trust in D.C., and our goal is determining the best practice for Wisconsin. I think the National Trust has a very good handle on the national scene and what is working in Ohio and what's not working in Missouri and things like that. So we'll have a general discussion, and our goal, as always, is to come up with the best practice that we can for the state of Wisconsin. I think Jake has got at your place of work today a summary.
The data actually did not make it over.
Okay, the data did not. Do you want to just summarize that?
Yeah. So the spreadsheet that Rita has in hand, and we can get out to the board immediately following this, is the information on the data that we've collected on our historic tax credit program. So this is going to help us in setting some of the metrics and in some of the criteria that we're going to put into our decision making on historic tax credit. So there's quite a bit of information. What we've done is we've sent a survey out to those projects that have already received our funding, asking for this information retrospectively. And this is information that's now on our application that we're just getting with all current applications that come in. Roughly 40% of our projects that have already received our award have responded already. In addition to that, we're also polling communities that have potential pre-1936 to get information from them on potential projects and what the metrics would be for those as well. So by the time the Historic Trust meeting happens at the end of October, we should have a pretty good set of numbers to take a look at in that discussion.
And this week we did 2 other awards for the Historic Tax Preservation Program.
Yep, since the moratorium's been lifted, we've had 13 additional applications come in for just over $3 million. So we continue to work through the historic certified program just like we were before. So it's going very well.
And the moratorium continues on the pre-36.
Yes.
But we answer questions on that. So, and hopefully when we have the general discussion on October 30th, we'll be ready to move forward with what we can do going forward. Representative Barkey, you have a question?
Yes, so these 13 that were approved, are they in the packet?
They haven't been approved yet. We've had 13 applications come in.
Oh, I see.
We've had 1, 2, 3, 4 that have been approved, 2 that were approved last week, Monday, and I think we've got 3 maybe that are on the docket for Monday as well. So, but no, those will be my normal quarterly report that I provide you guys. So that'll be next month that I provide my quarterly report.
Is it possible that, maybe, Governor, just because of the urgency that we hear from various people, and, as I mentioned in the last meeting, I was glad that we worked through the bulk of the issues here. But I think it'd be helpful if it's not too much difficulty for the staff that, as these are approved, at least for this first year that's so important, just, send out an email. It's pretty easy to just email us as board members. And, I think generally it'd be better if we were able to track things a little bit more closely, and
Rebecca,
it's something that I think.
Report already?
We do not, but
Right.
that hasn't been contracted.
So a summary of, in general, of what's being approved is provided weekly to you guys. Are you saying you want more than that?
Okay, I wasn't aware of that. So it comes out as email weekly?
Yep, Rebecca provided.
You see? You see these
Remember, they
weekly?
haven't, we've been
Nothing I
talking
get.
about it all.
You see
Well,
these weekly?
weekly report.
There are weekly reports that read.
And then
Oh,
it's sent
yes.
out
That go over-
to
Yes.
the board by
Mhm.
Yes,
Melissa after
yes,
we,
they are. Yes,
send it
they
over
are.
to the town.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
it's kind
well,
of a
I'll
what's
review that
happened
then.
this week thing.
Okay,
Yeah.
good, let
We have
me
to
double
make it
check
more
that.
prevalent, so.
Yeah, very good. Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. One other thing is in regard to the sponsorships and contributions. How overall, like over the course of the last year or 2 years, how have we done in terms of in terms of that issue of bringing in donations and contributions? As you know, the Be Bold Advisory Committee that I served on, along with I think a couple people maybe in this room were on. One of the things that we anticipated in the creation of WEDC is that we'd be able to offset taxpayer dollars with more private contributions. And I'm just curious, where we're at with that progress, and Reed, I guess from your vantage point, if there's other steps we could be taking to be more aggressive in soliciting private donations. I know there's a lot of companies around the state that are appreciative of the help that we've given them, and typically a lot of times after that happens, they're more inclined to contribute. And we used to have Forward Wisconsin, which was strictly kind of a quasi-public. In fact, I think almost all the money was private donations. And it seems like it's something that perhaps as a board we could take more active involvement in. I know our chairman's a prolific fundraiser, so he probably could be very successful in this regard. But many of us around this table have corporate contacts, people that we talk to regularly, associations that I think would take a keen interest in what we're doing. And I wonder if you can give us a little overview there, and if
We've drafted the articles and bylaws for the foundation, and we think ultimately the foundation is going to be more successful than the partnership we have now, which is many people view as a creature of the state, more public than private. Many individuals in the state view WDC as a creature of the state, yet accessing the public as opposed to the private aspect of the organization. The Joint Finance Committee asked us to come back in January or after the first of the year. We had the proposal in front of Joint Finance Committee to create the foundation. The documents are all ready. I think we'll get our 501c3 with no problem, especially after we had another similar program approved, private organization, economic development in the state this last year. So that is ready to go, and we have it on our list for early next calendar year to present. As you probably remember, we have to have Joint Finance Committee approval to move ahead with that.
Right. I do recall it. But how have we done, like in the last 2 years?
Well,
Do we have been 200,000, 100,000, where are we at overall, roughly?
I think the $20,000 per quarter is pretty reflective of how we've been doing on a quarterly basis historically.
Okay.
And that's
And
good.
it's mainly for things like that, or remember, it was in the meeting in Wausau, where we talked about the industry helping. For example, we did the site selectors event a few years ago, and they did the iPad minis to give out, and the board thought that was great. I think that, if I recall right, it was at that meeting we had the broader discussion about the foundation, saying that other than specific events like Marketplace or the site selectors, that in general, to get to where your point is, Representative, is that a foundation, per Reed's point, is if it's just giving the WEDC, people think it's part of state government. If it's giving the foundation, then it has a specific purpose, and it's driven for joint economic development efforts, and that's where it's still pending with the Joint Finance Committee and the legislature. And once that gets approved, I would imagine that would dramatically increase their ability.
Yeah, very good point. Okay.
And I'm pleased to report that the Green Bay Packers have made a contribution, a very nice contribution to us.
I just appreciate you get a tackle.
We'll donate it
back. Right tackle, that would be nice.
Okay. Next, we handed out also today, at your place, a copy of a journal article that appeared this week in the Illinois real estate magazines online. I gave a presentation to a large group down in Chicago last summer, and it finally came out. But it talks about the great success we have had in encouraging businesses from northern Illinois to move to Wisconsin, and why that is. We have, and of course I compliment M7 and CAVA in that too, because they are strong partners in making our success happen. That happens to be a very growing area of the state. Kenosha is doing great things. Racine's, I think, doing great things. And it'll be Oak Creek right after that, and then up to Milwaukee. And in time, it'll be that whole corridor down to Chicago. Will be a metropolitan area. So we just wanted to share some good news on that. And I think that is the end of my CEO report, unless someone on something.
That newsletter fits with Representative Bark and I were moments before we started. I think it was the Business Journal of Milwaukee had a great story about, I'm paraphrasing the headline, but I think it was like something like 4,000 jobs in Kenosha County over the last couple of years. We often kid Representative Barker, he's hoarding all the new jobs down there. But it talked about the recent youth and Amazon, a lot of things we've worked on, and kennel manufacturing and Hannah cylinders and all those different things that are happening down there. So it fits in well with that.
Thank you.
Great. Without any questions, we'll go on to Stephanie with the CFO report.
Thank you. You should have all received a copy of the legislative audit report, financial audit, in I think your email earlier, but also I think there should be one at your station as well. Hopefully you all had a chance to take a look at that. It was relatively short, so shouldn't have required hours and hours to pour through. What I'll just do is walk through some of the salient points of that, and just make sure that the board is comfortable where we're going with those, and certainly happy to answer any put in place. They actually extended some of their audit procedures related to our loan monitoring to cover not just June of 13, but to cover through December of 13. So they covered part of last fiscal year, and they really expanded that because they saw the progress that we were making during that time frame, and they wanted to really test it and be able to acknowledge that more fully. So we were really rather pleased with their flexibility on that, and that they wanted to bring that into their audit. One of the comments that I've seen probably in the media a little bit is discussion on our administrative costs. Just talk about that because we did add staff from day one of our organization through the second year of our organization, and approximately half of that staff was included within our operational departments, our business and industry development, economic and community development, entrepreneurship, marketing, and our international areas. And then about half of that was also within our operational departments. And so I think it really reflects the way that we ramped up our operations during that time frame. And so, yes, our administrative costs, our salaries and staff did increase, but I think that should have been expected from where we were from day one, that you may not have every employee on board when you start a new organization. So I don't think that that's reflective of any kind of an issue. It's the fact that, yes, we did add staff after we started. And one part of the report that in some cases had been misquoted early on was there were 223 expenditures tested by the Legislative Audit Bureau. The 223 represents their total sample size, and so that's the number of transactions. They didn't find issues 223 transactions that was the population. So they did indicate that they found some instances where we didn't maintain the right kind of support for our expenditures. I don't think that there was anything inappropriate with our expenditures. I think that all of them were actually incurred, that they were reasonable, but we moved to a paperless system. And as many of you know, when you go through change management in an organization, there's going to be times where not everything is brought along as quickly as you'd like. So I really think that there were cases where someone was scanning documents and maybe all of the pages didn't get included, or they had all the backup and maybe all of it wasn't attached. So we have a very robust review process right now where then, our accountant, she then processes it, and then it also goes through our controller for that full review. And so that it should not be any kind of concern going forward.
One question, were the 223, is that sample size, appropriate sample size for the audit bureau to use as a gauge? I don't know how many that is in the context of all the transactions that were available for sample.
I don't know that it would be appropriate for me to second guess the scope of their audit or their testing procedures. So, having been an auditor, it seems higher than I would have seen at most financial audits. But, again, I would leave them to the procedures that they would typically do.
And the reason I ask is that along with that, there are a couple other places where they indicate that they sample things and not knowing what that sample size is as a percentage of the universe of transactions or loans or whatever. I'm just curious about sample size and whether that is a good indicator for us to rely on as to the
I think that the way that they approached their sampling was they would pick an area of audit work, if it's marketing expenditures or if it's expenditures for professional development. They would take different categories of expenditures, look at the full listing of the